Something big is happening in the world of Sonic, and it's not just Sonic Frontiers 2, as over the past few weeks, SEGA has quietly been setting the stage for a brand new Sonic game, and it looks like the entire future of Sonic storytelling is about to change forever. From the new direction in voice acting to the possible Sonic X Fortnite crossover, and even whispers of a Sage mini-series that could bridge the gap between Frontiers 2 and what comes next. Everything is pointing towards a brand new era for the Blue Blur. But that's not all, because there's an incredible new render video that might just give us our first look into what cutscenes could potentially look like in Sonic Frontiers 2 due to the fact that they're now utilizing Unreal Engine 5, and plus some new insight into Sonic Blitz, future SEGA projects, and how the next generation of Sonic games is being built. So stick around, because what I found might change the way you look at Sonic's future completely. And also, before we get into the video, make sure you subscribe only if you like me as a person, because that way I know you're here for the ride and not the hype. It would genuinely mean a lot though if you were to subscribe, because we are trying to build this to one of the biggest Sonic communities on YouTube. Let's focus on the positivity and the hype for Sonic again. But before we get into this, I kind of want to confirm exactly why I know that SEGA are using Unreal Engine 5. Now, not only due to the fact that they're scrapping away the Hedgehog Engine 2, which was used in Sonic Frontiers, but also because they're using new modern technology that allows Sonic Team to offer richer, more complex, more interesting worlds. Now, I know we've been over this before, but I just wanted to state this because it kind of goes off the whole video and based off of what we'll see in the future. So, you know, everything kind of connects with just this one phrase. If we didn't know this, I couldn't really say a lot because obviously we don't know if they're going to be continuing to use Hedgehog Engine 2, but also All Shark Queen said, going back to this animation, with this tech it'll be way easier to pull off smear frames in natural movement, and imagine tech in a cel-shaded Sonic game. If Sonic Team manages, we could end up with some really unique stuff. So obviously, if you remember this animation for the test of Shadow Generations and how they were utilizing deform on and deform off, and the combination of Maya and Unreal Engine 5, yeah, I feel like we're going to be getting more of this squash and stretch sort of movement, and I'll get into exactly what that could look like with some more general footage. But we will get into that in literally just a second, but before we do, this is really cool from Sonic City. For those playing Sonic Blitz, a new update arrives on November the 10th. The dev team said they've heard the player feedback about the power stat and its values will be adjusted, plus more in-game events are coming. Stay tuned for the full patch notes. So if you guys know Sonic Blitz, the card game, let me know what you think, because honestly, we did go over like a potential of like more Sonic characters being added into the main canon because of this card game. So yeah, I mean, I think I made a video on that. It'll be on like one of the card things in the corner. But because of the new focal detail towards Sonic's quill alignment and his overall texture quality, I believe the new Sonic model will look something similar to a reconcile of 06, Unleashed, and sort of that Frontiers model. I feel like it all looks something like this by Huncreo, so yeah, I think this would look really awesome, especially because of how stylish Sonic can look, blending the modern and adventure physique. And honestly, this render is by far one of my favorites. I think it's getting topped every time, and Decatsko, you are doing incredible with these renders, so a massive shout out to you because you're doing incredible with it. And speaking of Decatsko, this is a very cool animation into what we even could be seeing for more of that squash and stretch stylization in Sonic games in the future. So yeah, I think this is a very cool comparison towards something that we could even be seeing in Frontiers 2, and looks very similar to that kind of Maya and Unreal Engine 5 development. So let me know what you think of this animation. I think this is very awesome. I think this is genuinely my favorite, especially Decatsko, because it's stylized, very squashy, but then also doesn't look like too cartoonish to where it looks like unserious, like Crash Bandicoot, for example. So Sonic looks like how he does originally, but it doesn't sacrifice a lot of like the badass coolness of Sonic himself. So I think that's a very important point to make. But also, these are some Decatsko model rigs. These are incredible. So yeah, this just takes a lot of work, guys, so make sure to check out Decatsko. And I also want to point out this render of Classic Sonic by eScrubby, and the reason why is, well, you can have a look, but I'll explain more in a second. So the Sonic Stadium has said, according to AIPT Comics, we're probably getting more classic Sonic content in 2026, plus apparently a Sage miniseries. They're being cryptic, but we've got the screens of the quotes below. So Mel asks, are there any more classic era comics planned for the future? Seeing Trip and Fang's gang in the comics was so fun. So Sonic Editorial said, we'd hate to spoil anything, but you might have hit the nail right on the head. In fact, a little birdie, aka the editorial planning document, told me that there might just be something in the classic era coming out in 2026. I guess we'll just have to keep an eye out for it. And Dalton Sneeds asked, when will the next mini-series in the same vein as Imposter Syndrome or Scrapnik Island be happening? It may be closer than you think. There might even be a hint in the next response. And Milky Wilkie asked, are there any plans to release spin-off books? funny you should ask that. So we all know how Sage is getting introduced into the comics in issue 84. Well, that same little birdie from before told me that there may be a spin-off featuring everyone's favorite artificial intelligence in the works, which makes a lot of sense considering how you can kind of tell that Sage would fit that narrative perfectly, especially because the way that Sage is characterized. So let me know what you think of that. And just to match the fact that we're going to be getting a new engine and a new model, I believe this strongly, is because the Frontiers Hedgehog Engine 2 model is sort of outdated, and this shows in the Frontiers cutscene into Generations experiment, where you can obviously see Sonic from Frontiers in Generations doesn't really match up, and I guess you can kind of see it in Shadow Generations, like in the cutscenes. Obviously it's way better there, but yeah, I feel like they're going to be changing this model around, and there's been a lot of evidence of that based off of the reception that SEGA has given to the community, and also their inclusion to highlight so much feedback for Final Horizon. But I also just want to go over two things here. The Sonic Stadium said, check out the new level from the upcoming global release of Sonic Rumble. Now this is very, very awesome. And also guys, if you do happen to find me as your favorite Sonic creator, make sure you use my code in Sonic Rumble. It's Juicy Polar Bear with no spaces, so I'll leave it on the screen right now. But don't feel compelled to just because you watched this video. Maybe if you have another creator that, you love watching, make sure to use their code. And I honestly can't wait to hop in with you guys on Sonic Rumble. Make sure to check the game out. It is very awesome. And obviously we've got Space Colony Arc, which is obviously a no-brainer. It was in Sonic Speed Simulator, so yeah, this is awesome. And this is a bit of a speculation question. Very interested to see these replies to the questions. This is about the Sage spin-off. I wonder who could be responsible for writing that hypothetical spin-off starring Sage. But Sonic Stadium is saying that Danny 8-Bit could be writing it, so we could be seeing that. Now Fortnite's next season is coming out next month, and obviously we know that Sonic has had sort of a tease, or like some with the cars and also some of the shoes, but Chick Bungus, which is a very sus name, I can't believe I just said that. Give me a moment of silence for what I've just said there. This is where the Sonic collab you're all waiting for will drop, sometime in Chapter 7 according to my source. Previous collab was part of a Rocket League season alongside the kick deals with Puma. With the legal issues over, Live and Learn as a jam track will also be a part of this, as reported by Hypex, and the source is anonymous, so take it with a grain of salt, but everything is currently adding up as of now. So what do you think would look awesome for Sonic and Fortnite? I think, obviously the Unleashed model like here would be amazing, but you know what? If we can see Sonic and Fortnite, especially because of the way that SEGA teased it with the whole Puma and the cars from Rocket League, yeah, I think we will be seeing Sonic and Fortnite eventually. There's no way that I don't see it happening at least some point in the future, but next season, yeah, next season of Fortnite does make sense, so let me know what you think of that. And also, here's another clip of the LAR motion from Marza in action, so yeah, it wasn't anything crazy, but also Sonic on All Characters stated that Marza Studio has announced that they're planning more of LAR's motion capture content, and this wasn't a one-time thing, so there'll be more details revealed later. But also, Sonic on All Characters stated that you can get SEGA Game Gear as a buddy in Sonic Rumble, so all you need to do is register a SEGA account until July 31st. But also, the Yabs SADX edit is very awesome. I love this whole attention to detail with Sonic. This is what I've always said, and obviously I know that we're talking about renders again, but just simple fact that we have something where the quills are expanding rather than being so straight back. That's what I kind of don't like. I like the quills to be long, but also have like that bushiness like they do with the Adventure model. So yeah, I think this is a perfect blend between Adventure, 06, Unleashed, and Frontiers. But also because of these brand new sales charts, obviously Sonic Superstars, Sonic Frontiers, and Sonic Dash, we could be seeing a new classic game simply merely because of the fact that it's sold quite a decent amount, considering that Sonic Superstars didn't really have a huge push for it really. Like Frontiers had most of the promotion, and then obviously Sonic Dash, that's everyone. So the game didn't flop, and All Shark Queen stayed this as well. I know you guys were speculating about the whole voice direction of Roger Craig Smith for Sonic Frontiers 2, and this is kind of confirming something by Pepito, as Roger's a voice acting legend, but I just find it so crazy for a youthful character like Sonic to sound this old, especially compared to Junichi, Ryan, and Jason. SEGA screwed Sonic up by wanting him to sound older, and it's time to see the young talent for the long run like the JP cast. So, someone said, I met Roger today at the MCM Expo in London. He's a really nice guy and was very happy to talk about voicing Sonic. Without me even mentioning the deepness of Sonic's voice, he said that he'd been told by SEGA that they wanted Sonic to sound older. And from what it sounds like, SEGA could consider this to be an important factor for the current relaunch of Sonic, so there you go, the deeper voice is what SEGA wants, so it looks like it will be staying. So yeah, I feel like they're going to, you know, keep this whole direction, but I feel like Roger Craig Smith is trying to get away with using the more light-hearted tone of Sonic whenever he can, because I think he obviously prefers that. But I actually kind of like the whole deep tone of Sonic. I think there needs to be a bit more of a balance. I don't think Sonic can be too serious. I think in moments where Sonic has to be serious, it's very, very important. But in moments where he is, you know, kind of playful, I don't really like it. But let me know what you think of Sonic's current tone of voice and exactly the direction that has been confirmed that they are going to be going more in this serious, in-depth emotion. And also, Pepito said, yeesh, Naka really hated how Sonic was handled in the West, didn't he? Crazy that his fears came true, not only in external media, but literally in Sonic Team's own games. You also oversee the direction of Sonic as a character. So it's kind of like Mickey Mouse and how they don't really put much out for Mickey Mouse, so it's kind of like they're afraid of damaging his image, and that kind of thing has been very hard to do with us with Sonic, if I'm being honest. I mean, there was a Sonic cartoon broadcast in America where he has siblings. It's pretty obvious at this point that they don't want to tarnish any of the previous legacy titles, such as the Sonic Adventure games, so I don't think they're going to be doing any of that anytime soon, which kind of confirms that, but also gives us a slight hint, or a teaser if you will, which also we've compiled with the information about the Game Awards on the December 11th with the new Sonic trailer, and also June the 5th, 2026 for the Summer Games Fest for the potential trailers of Frontiers, which is highly probable. I do think that they're not going to be releasing any sort of extra media in 2026. They will be solely focusing on Sonic Frontiers 2. That year is fully locked in for Sonic, because they've had 2 years now already focusing on other characters. So yeah, it's about time that we're finally starting to get back into the swing of things. But when it comes to Sonic's story, there could be potential things that we see that could start to shift the way that the stories will be viewed in the context limelight, and also the, you know, implementation of Ian Flynn's writing that will subjugate this whole brand new storytelling. And we saw some of this in Frontiers, and I do believe that we'll be seeing this in more, as Sega's insights project that the games will start with the gang on their own and then gather them throughout the game. Obviously we saw that in Frontiers with the multiple islands, but it makes them more independent and more organic, because now it's starting to look like they're constantly hanging out and going on adventures together, like Scooby-Doo. So let Sonic get to the point of having each character live their own story, and obviously we saw that with Tails. There was more innate characteristics with each character that was enabled the Sonic team to really flush out the different types of characters we have in each Sonic game, but also very few new locations since Sonic Colors. Sonic Forces has 3, Sonic Frontiers has 3, and then plus Eternal Highway, and Lost Worlds are very forgettable, obviously, because of the identity crisis involving Sonic, and the lack of new diverse locations makes the worlds very stale. The worlds also don't feel as lively and as concrete as they used to be, so games like Sonic Adventure 2, Shadow 06, Unleashed, and the storybook games, it felt like the stories were taking a place in an established world that had its own people, own stories, and also own thematic themes. But also there was a bit of a world building. Obviously in Frontiers 2 there's much more tell than show, obviously with the whole ancients and everything. But now the white space is empty, and the Lost Hex 2, the Starfall Islands 2, Colors, and Forces kind of had the same problem, and these games were too light and rushed in terms of their story to have the worlds truly feel alive. So yeah, I do agree with that point, and how they're going to be shifting this direction more into more lucid and more grand open worlds. We could be seeing a city, for that example, maybe not an actual city. I think we'll be seeing something similar to the Summit Spire leak, so something around the Master Emerald. They have to do something with the Chaos Emeralds, because if they're going to be making a open world Sonic game for Frontiers 2, they've got to do something that focuses in the direction of Sky Sanctuary, or something where there's more Sonic elements, because obviously that was a huge problem with Frontiers. Like, a lot of people did find that there was just literally no characterization in the Frontiers Starfall Islands. I love the stylistic and like the realistic sort of environments, but I do think that they can blend that perfectly with the environments we already have. So imagine seeing Sky Sanctuary or Green Hill, Chemical Plant, but they're all like realistic, like they look like Frontiers, like they look more like higher poly and everything. That would be really awesome to see. The problem I don't think is the art style of the Sonic games, but I think it's more so the utilization of the set environments, because I think Frontiers will look incredible, and I don't think anyone would actually argue against Frontiers being like lifeless if the worlds look great but they maintain those graphics, because I don't think a lot of people understand how good the lighting is in the Hedgehog Engine 2, and it's only going to get better because of the result of Unreal Engine 5, and also because of the more thematic freedom with the expanse of the Sonic cast. There's going to be more of an expanse to be able to write more characters involving Sonic and Shadow, so it's not real life. There aren't a lot of circumstances out of your control. It's like people saying movie Sonic had to be like he is to fit in the stories, and they could have had the stories revolving around his original character characterization and not the opposite. So obviously, Sonic movies don't actually follow the canon. Also got some information about the Sonic movies, so yeah, stay tuned. And also, because when it comes to Sonic characterization, there should be more matters than his stories. It doesn't mean they shouldn't be cohesive or fleshed out. So let me know what you think about the whole characterization of Sonic, his obviously direction, and also the way that stories are going to be changing for a more darker tone. And also, speaking of darker, Sonic City has stated that there's a first look at the ultimate life form, Shadow, the statue coming out from the first 4 figures on November the 11th. So, you know, obviously this is a very, very cool insinuation of Shadow. But now onto Sonic movie news. Who is reportedly won't be featured in Sonic 4, according to Daniel RPK, Silver the Hedgehog won't be showing up in Sonic 4, but despite there not being much speculation that he might. Now, I think that obviously a lot of people are taking this information to be good, like, okay, we won't see Silver in Sonic 4. I don't think we're going to see Silver in Sonic 4, but I do think we will see Silver in Sonic 4. Now, you might be like, that doesn't make sense. You just said one thing and then said the other. I think we're going to see him in the post-credits, but I don't think he'll be in the main movie. Kind of like how you could say Amy's in Sonic 3. Well, she's not, but you get what I mean. We're going to see that first original scoop into how Silver's going to be adapting, because he is like the most popular character. I mean, I guess you could make an argument for the Chaotix, but I just don't think that they're as notorious as Silver. So let me know what you think of that. Make sure to like and subscribe, obviously, if you love me as a person or like me or whatever. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. And also check out these 2 videos here. They kind of go over some more information about Sonic, and have an awesome, amazing rest of your Saturday.